Hey, it's Andrew Hubbard here from andrewhubbard.co, and in this video we're talking about the best lead magnets to use to grow your email list. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through each of the 4 lead magnets that are working best right now, talk about the pros and cons of each to help you decide which ones to use in your business. So first things first, let's talk about what makes a good lead magnet. Firstly, it's got to provide a tangible, measurable benefit. So the idea is you want to give your audience something that they can consume, apply, and then actually get a benefit from and notice something measurable within their business. So for example, for my business, I could give away a case study that breaks down every single aspect and exactly what we did inside a successful Facebook ad campaign so that the reader can then take that and apply it to their campaigns and get a similar result. Now, if you apply this to the golf niche, it could be something like a training video that walks them through 5 steps that they can apply to add 30 yards to their drive. Second, it has to be easy to consume. It's important that your lead magnet is something that people can go through in less than an hour. No one is reading 60-page ebooks, okay? Maybe 5 to 10 years ago that was a thing, but tell me the last time you actually went and downloaded an ebook and read the whole thing cover to cover. Nobody does that anymore. So you have to make sure your lead magnet is really easy to consume. Third, it's got to be easy to implement and use. You don't want to give them something that takes 6 months to implement and apply in their business and then 12 months after that to actually get a result. You want to give them something that they can apply quickly, ideally within a day, and something where they're going to see a result quickly. Ideally, again, within a couple of days, but maybe up to a week. You really don't want to go any longer than that though. And finally, it's got to be relevant. Whatever you're providing your audience with in the form of a lead magnet, it's got to be relevant to your audience and it's got to be relevant to what you're actually going to offer them down the road. If you're giving away a lead magnet, it means at some stage you're going to pitch them for a product or service. And so you want to make sure that lead magnet is bringing in leads who are qualified to buy from you down the road. If it's something that's not relevant to what you're eventually going to sell them, or if it's something that attracts the type of person that isn't going to buy from you, then there's no point even getting them on your list in the first place. So you need to make sure your lead magnet is relevant. So now what we're going to do is jump in and talk about the 4 top performing lead magnets so you can go ahead and use them for yourself. But before we jump in, if you're enjoying this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, click the subscribe button and hit that little bell so you get notified whenever I release a new video on Facebook advertising or digital marketing. So the first lead magnet on our list is the case study. So a case study is basically where you share a detailed outline of exactly what you did to achieve a particular outcome. So it's taking an example, something that you've done that was successful, and breaking it down and walking somebody through step by step, showing them how you did that. Case studies can be really valuable for the audience because it allows them to see what you did to get the result. And it's also a powerful way to get those leads to see exactly what you can do for businesses like theirs. So the pros of a case study are, one, they're very appealing to the right audience. People love reading case studies because they love reading real stories where somebody has applied a particular method and achieved success. And the second benefit of a case study is that they are good for generating sales down the line. It's a form of proof that you know what you're talking about, that you know what you're doing by providing that example of, hey, this is what I did, this is how I did it, and this is the result we got for this particular person or company. That adds a ton of credibility. So when it comes time to actually pitching your service or offering, people are much more likely to buy if they've already consumed a case study or two. So the cons of a case study as a lead magnet, well, one is if you're just starting out, you might not have great case studies that you can use. Another is you need often to get client permission to share case studies. That can be a bit difficult sometimes. Nothing you can't overcome, but sometimes it can be tough. And the other thing is sometimes they can be complicated to create. Compared to some of the lead magnets out there, a case study takes a bit of time and a bit of effort to create because you need to go into detail. You want to provide something that's high quality and something that walks through every single step and doesn't just skim over and give the reader a high level overview. And lastly, you really need to do these well in order for them to work. So it needs to be something that's really appealing, that goes into detail, that compels that lead to then want to follow up and learn more from you. All right, so that is the case study, a really good lead magnet. All right, so the second lead magnet we're going to talk about is the swipe file. So a swipe file is basically a group of files that you give to somebody, package them up, give them to somebody so that they can take them, use them as examples, or apply them in their own business. For example, a successful Facebook ad swipe file that I could provide my audience would contain a bunch of successful Facebook ads, so screenshots of our most successful Facebook ads. So it would be called a swipe file of our most successful Facebook ads. People can download that, have a look, see what's working well for us, and then they can apply some of those things that they see in those ads in their own campaigns. You could do the same for emails. We've done that for clients where we've packaged up the most successful marketing emails that they've sent to their list, sent them out as a swipe file so that people who download them can use them as examples in their own business and use them for inspiration and ideas. So a swipe file can be a really good, strong, crunchy lead magnet. People like swipe files because, again, it's similar to the case study. People love real world examples of things, and a swipe file is exactly that. It's a real world example of, hey, here's a package of things that worked well for us. Take them, have a look, and apply them for yourself. So let's talk about the pros of a swipe file lead magnet. One, it's quick and easy to create. Often these are things that you've already got and that are working in your own business or for your students, so you can package those up, turn them into a swipe file, and share them, and boom, you've got your lead magnet. Really, really quick and easy to do. Again, we already touched on this. They are very appealing to the audience. We see quite low lead costs with these because people want swipe files. They're highly desirable. And the third benefit of these is that they're highly actionable. For example, if you're giving away an email swipe file, people can easily download that, grab it, and apply those, copy and paste those emails into their own marketing systems and get a result really, really quickly from that. The downside of the swipe file is, well, one, you've got to give away your best stuff quite often. And second is that it can be hard to actually find something that's really valuable to the audience. You don't want to give away a swipe file full of stuff that is useless and that the audience are never actually going to use. You want to give away a swipe file of something that is highly desirable, and sometimes it takes a little bit of thinking to come up with that. Now let's move on to the third lead magnet that I'm going to talk about, and that is the webinar. Now, if you don't know what a webinar is, it's basically a video training. It's basically where people jump on with you at a scheduled time, watch you give away a training for an hour or so, and then generally at the end of that training, there's a pitch for a product or a service, okay? Now, you might hear that webinars are dead. It's kind of like people saying email marketing is dead. These things just don't die. Webinars will be around for much, much longer yet. We're still seeing a ton of success with webinars, and that's why they are on this list. So the main benefit of a webinar is that people are going to spend an hour listening to you and going through your content. So that is a powerful way to prepare that lead to buy from you. If somebody's spent an hour with you, they've become a really warm lead and they are much more likely to buy from you. So they're a great way to warm up an audience. It's a great way to accelerate the buying process. For example, if you were to share a case study or if you were to share a swipe file, generally what happens is you'll send that to the lead, they will go through it, and you'll have a series of marketing emails that follow up, and people will open, 20 to 50% of the emails that you send in the follow-up. It's hard to get people to consume more content after you give away a different type of lead magnet like a swipe file or a case study. But for a webinar, if somebody opts in for the webinar and they watch it, they're going to sit there for the hour and go through that whole training, then it's a quick way to warm up that audience and get them ready for a pitch. The downsides of webinars are, one, it can be very expensive to buy leads for a webinar, and it's hard to get people to opt in because everybody now knows what a webinar is. They know that it's going to take a lot of time to consume. And so it's harder to convince people that it's worth giving away their email address for a webinar sign up. So yes, it's a great way to speed up the buying cycle and to warm audiences up quickly, but it's more expensive per lead to actually get them to sign up for a webinar. The other downside is that people know that there's going to be a pitch at the end of a webinar. So people are very aware of that. Some people are skeptical. And again, that adds a little bit of resistance in terms of getting people to sign up for that webinar. And the final thing is that compared to other lead magnet types, a webinar is quite difficult to create. So to create a webinar, you need to create a slide deck. You need to come up with really good content. Often slide decks get revised over and over. And then you need to prepare the presentation itself. So it's actually quite complex. And regardless of whether you do it live or you have a pre-recorded webinar, you've still got to go through the process of presenting that webinar, recording it, doing all those things. So it's actually very time consuming to create a webinar, and to create a good webinar. Most really successful webinars have been revised many, many, many times and tested and refined and tested and refined. So to do that, it's a huge process. Okay, so that's the webinar. Now let's move on to our final lead magnet type. And this is something that's really getting traction this year. It hasn't been popular in the past, but it's getting a ton of attention this year, and that is free software tools. So this is basically where you build a free tool, put it out there on the web, and allow people to access it by just signing up with an email address. No credit card, no payment whatsoever. Then they get free access to use that tool as much as they want. So the benefits of this, the pros of using a software tool like this is, one, it's highly desirable. If you have a great tool, people will sign up for it. And again, if you have a great tool, word of mouth can actually help spread that. Okay, that's the first two benefits. The third benefit is that it can actually be really beneficial for SEO as well. Because if you have a great tool that a lot of people are using and talking about, people will link to that tool. And links help with SEO, they get you higher in the search rankings, and they get you more organic traffic. So building a tool can actually help you generate leads and continue to bring in more traffic to your website, which then snowballs into more leads through that SEO benefit. Now, the downsides, well, the first one, as you probably guess, these can be expensive to create. Most people aren't engineers. They're going to need to hire a developer or an engineer to build a software tool for them. There are ways to get around this. You can use a site like Code Canyon to download pre-done templates and software that you can sort of make little tweaks to that already exists so you can use it on your website. But it's hard to find something great there. Often you'll need to hire somebody to make those tweaks to get it just how you want it. And so it's expensive and it's time consuming to create. That's the biggest downside of a software tool. The other downsides are, one, there's often ongoing maintenance. Your tool has to live somewhere on a server. You need to pay for that server time. So you do have an ongoing cost. And then there's going to be bugs. There's going to be improvements you want to make. So there will be a cost there in terms of paying somebody to maintain it, to fix bugs, and to add little tweaks and improvements as you go. And the final thing is you need to support your users as well. Any good software tool, whether it's free or paid, has some sort of support. And if you create a great tool that gets a lot of users, you're going to need people there to provide support to the users of your tool, regardless of the fact that it's free. Okay, so those are the 4 best lead magnets that are working right now. So if you enjoyed this video, please at least give it a like. That tells me that you enjoyed the content. If you want to get notified every time I release a new video on Facebook advertising or digital marketing, hit the subscribe button and hit the little bell to make sure that you get that notification. All right, thanks again for watching. I always appreciate your time, and I'll see you in the next video.